I think just the rest. I think just she was able to get her legs under. You know, she's hitting shots. She just, you know, she's been going since her college.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. Remember when Caitlin Clark was surprisingly left off the Olympic team? That decision sent shockwaves through the basketball community. But what if I told you that this might have been the best thing that ever happened to her? While Team USA battles it out in Paris, Clark has been transforming into an absolute beast on the court with the Indiana Fever. Coach Christie Sides recently dropped some jaw-dropping news. Clark is dominating everyone in practice, and this could be just the beginning of something historic. By the end of this discussion, you'll understand why Caitlin Clark's Olympic snub could lead to one of the most spectacular playoff runs in WNBA history. When Caitlin Clark didn't make the Olympic roster, a lot of us were shocked. After all, we're talking about one of the most electrifying players in college basketball history. But here's where it gets interesting. Her exclusion from the Olympics might have been a blessing in disguise. Coach Christie Sides recently shared some inside information on Clark's current form, and it's nothing short of astonishing. Since the end of her college season, Clark has been on a relentless basketball journey, but the Olympic snub gave her a rare opportunity to catch her breath. And it's not just about rest. Clark has been putting in the work during this break, and the results are speaking for themselves. Coach Sides mentioned that Clark didn't reveal much about what she was doing during this pause, but let's be real. This is Caitlin Clark we're talking about. She's a player who breathes, eats, and sleeps basketball. You can bet that she was in the gym fine-tuning her game when no one was watching. Now, she's coming back stronger, more focused, and with a chip on her shoulder. While her Olympic counterparts are dealing with the pressure and grind of international competition, Clark has been able to reset, recharge, and prepare for what could be a historic second half of the WNBA season. So what does this mean for the Indiana Fever? Remember, this is a team that started the season with a rough record. They faced challenges, and it looked like their playoff hopes were slipping away. But things have been turning around, and a lot of that has to do with Clark's incredible play before the break. Even before her time off, Clark was already making waves. In July, she was considered one of the best players of the month, and that was during what some were calling a shooting slump. Just imagine what she's capable of now that she's had time to rest and refocus. But it's not just about individual performance. Coach Christie Sides has been smart about using this time off. She brought the team back to training earlier than other teams, focusing on team chemistry and defensive improvements. They've been working on communication, closing gaps, and providing better defensive help, all areas where they struggled in the first half of the season. And here's the kicker. While other teams are dealing with players coming back tired from the Olympics or managing injuries, the Fever, led by a rejuvenated Clark, are gearing up for a potential playoff push. They're fresh, they're focused, and they have one of the most talented rookies in WNBA history playing at the top of her game. This break could be the turning point that transforms the Fever from underdogs to serious contenders. While Olympic experience is valuable, there's something to be said for the focused, uninterrupted training time Clark has had. She's been able to work on her game without the pressure of international competition or the fatigue of travel. This isn't just about physical rest, though. The mental aspect is huge here. Clark entered the WNBA with massive expectations. Every game and every shot was scrutinized. Now, she's had time to step back, analyze her game, and come back with a fresh perspective. A mental reset can be just as valuable as any physical improvement. Now let's talk about motivation. Do you think Caitlin Clark forgot about that Olympic snub? There's no way. Athletes at this level thrive on proving people wrong. With every dominant performance in practice and every shot she sinks in games moving forward, it's all fuel for her fire. She's not just playing for the Fever. She's playing to show the world what Team USA missed out on. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever's success isn't just about Clark. Coach Sides has been working on building team chemistry during this break. They've had team-building activities and competitive games outside of basketball, all designed to bring the team closer together. A team that is tight off the court tends to communicate better and play more cohesively on it. This combination of a rejuvenated Clark and a more unified team could be the secret sauce that turns the Fever into a force to be reckoned with in the second half of the season. And let me tell you, the rest of the WNBA should be very worried right now. Let's take a closer look at what we can expect from Caitlin Clark in the second half of this season and potentially in the playoffs. If you thought she was impressive before, buckle up because we might be in for something truly special. First off, let's look at the numbers. Before the break, Clark was averaging over 17.1 points and 8.2 assists per game. Those are Rookie of the Year numbers, folks. But here's the thing. Clark wasn't even at her best. She was dealing with fatigue, adjusting to the pro game, and still putting up those stats. Now, with rest and focused practice time, the sky is the limit. Coach Sides mentioned that Clark is making shots in practice that even she didn't expect. For a player of Clark's caliber, that's a terrifying statement for the rest of the league. We're talking about someone who can pull up from logo distance, who can thread the needle with passes most players wouldn't even attempt. If her shot is falling consistently, we could see some record-breaking performances. But it's not just about scoring. Clark's court vision and passing ability are elite. With improved team chemistry and more familiarity with her teammates, those assist numbers could go through the roof. We might be looking at the first rookie to lead the league in assists since 2005. And let's not forget about the playoffs. The Fever are currently in the hunt for a playoff spot, and if they make it, they'll be dangerous. Playoff basketball is different. It's more intense and strategic, but it's also where legends are made. With Clark playing at this level, rested and motivated, she could have the kind of playoff run that we'll be talking about for years to come. Remember, this is a player who thrives under pressure. We saw it in college, especially in that run to the national championship game. Now, imagine that clutch gene with a chip on her shoulder from the Olympic snub. Clark could very well be the kind of player who elevates her game even further when the stakes are highest. The second half of the WNBA season is about to kick off, and the pressure is on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Every game from here on out is crucial. First, there's the playoff push. The Fever are on the hunt, but they're not there yet. They'll need to maintain this momentum and translate Clark's practice dominance into game-winning performances. And let's be clear, the rest of the league isn't going to make it easy for them. Every team knows the threat Clark poses now, and they'll be game planning specifically to stop her. Then there's the Rookie of the Year race. Clark's main competitor, Angel Reese, has been putting up impressive numbers too. This break could be the springboard Clark needs to separate herself from the pack, but it's going to be a dogfight until the very end of the season. But perhaps the biggest source of tension is the Olympic-sized chip on Clark's shoulder. Every game is now an opportunity for her to prove the Team USA selectors wrong. You can bet that she'll be watching the Olympic Games closely, measuring her performances against those of the players who made the cut. And here's the kicker. What if the Fever make a deep playoff run while Team USA struggles in Paris? What if Clark continues to break records and draw massive crowds while the Olympic team fails to capture the nation's attention? The comparisons will be inevitable, and the pressure on both Clark and Team USA will be immense. We're on the verge of what could be a defining moment in WNBA history. Caitlin Clark, the Olympic snub, leading her team to glory against all odds. It's the kind of story sports legends are made of, and we're about to see how it unfolds. What do you think Caitlin Clark's impact will be in the second half of the season? Will she lead the Fever to the playoffs? How many records do you think she'll break? And most importantly, do you think Team USA is regretting their decision to leave her off the Olympic roster? Drop your predictions in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. Your insights are valuable, and I love hearing different perspectives from fellow basketball enthusiasts. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay up to date with all things Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.